Good morning. I'm Steve Weber, and I'm the host of the American Gumption Morning Show. And welcome to today's show. Today's show is number 92, and that's kind of a lucky number because Serenity Sam is going to be joining us in about 15 minutes. So that's going to be a fun interview. Looking forward to that coming up at about 15 past the hour. Alrighty. So today is December 17th, and it's my brother Ken's birthday. So happy birthday to Ken, one of my heroes. Thanks, Ken. Alrighty. Yeah. So, I told you yesterday, the big snowstorm's coming in, going to hit, right after the show, 12 to 20 inches. A sure thing. And we got about 6 inches. So we were right on the cusp. We knew that. But anyway, that's what happened. I feel like Charlie Brown and Lucy with the football. The snowstorms keep coming in. They tell us there's a big snowstorm and we get all excited about it, like 20 inches of snow. And I run down there and the football gets pulled out and boop, fall down. That's the end of that. All right. Well, anyway, it's probably just as well because it's easier to clean up with 6 inches than it is with 20 inches. All righty. But a nice, beautiful day. The storm has come and gone. So here we are. All righty. So today, my monologue is going to be New Thought Leadership. And I did a little bit of research and I took some of my knowledge that I already had. And really, it's about the law of attraction. But as I prepared, I thought the better title would be New Thought Leadership. So I'm going to give a little bit of a history and some of the books that came along that influenced, some of them influenced me, but certainly influenced the whole New Thought Leadership movement and the law of attraction and how it evolved to get to where it is today. This is by no means a complete study of it, but it's kind of like, I'll call it a primer or an intro. And for me, it's really the intro because I feel like I could do a whole lot more research on this and expand on it as time goes on. So I'll get into that in just a moment. Let me tell you what's coming up, though, the next couple of days, because I have a guest tomorrow and then 3 scheduled for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week. So we are just jamming along, getting ready for the holidays, keeping the show going with some great guests. So tomorrow, Alan Knight. Alan Knight wrote the book, Mind Gone Wild. For 8 years, Alan lived as a monk, a Zen monk. And then he decided that he missed people and women. And so he came out and gave up that lifestyle, but he wrote the book, Mind Gone Wild. So he'll join us tomorrow. All right. On Monday, Joe Lair. Joe Lair is a friend from Montana. I met him I didn't meet him right away, but I got to know Joe kind of from a distance when I first moved to Montana. And then he has a story called Front Yard, Backyard, that he has been sharing for years and years. Actually, it was his father used the story. Joe wrote the story. His father was a professional speaker, and his father used the story for many, many years. And I actually credited his father for the story. But anyway, I heard the story, and it impacted my life about 5 years ago, and I'll tell you all about that. We'll talk about that. That's on Monday, and then Shaman Isabella comes back on Tuesday. She was a great guest a couple of weeks ago, and we have so much to talk about. Again, continuing the conversation, she does her own spiritual work and her own connection to source. She learned her shamanism from South America, Peru, I believe. All right. And then shaman really is more of a Native American or Native people, tribal people that goes back, hundreds, thousands of years. All right. And then Wednesday, Nikki Roscoe comes to us from the UK one more time to close out the holiday season. She's been a great guest. She's talked about all kinds of things, Reiki, crystal healing, meditation practices. So we will continue the conversation and learn more from Nikki on Wednesday. All righty. So I mentioned my monologue today. Let's go ahead and change the banner to American Gumption. There we go. So I wanted to, I always try to tie in, my monologue with our guest, and Serenity Sam is a teacher of law of attraction. So I've done law of attraction monologues before. So I wanted to do something just a little bit different. So I kind of thought, well, what were the influences of what was the kind of the history and the timeline? And some of this information is kind of like things I've only figured out myself as I did research for this monologue, and others were things that I was certainly aware of and was able to piece it together. So let's just go back to the earliest idea of New Thought leadership is credited to a fellow named Phineas Quimby. Phineas Quimby, and that was in the early 19th century. So I don't have dates, but somewhere around the 1820s, 1830s, something like that. So Phineas Quimby, he was credited with what they call the beginning of New Thought leadership. In 1887, what, almost 150 years ago, the term law of attraction was first written about by Helena Blavatsky. And she said that there was an attractive power existing between elements of spirit, So that was the first time that someone used the term law of attraction, 1887. That same year, a fellow named Prentice Mulford wrote a book called Law of Success, and he articulated the principles that really are the law of attraction. He didn't call it the law of attraction. He called it the law of success. Now, those early people were all concerned with not only health, but every aspect of life. So they went, it kind of started, the guy Phineas, he had tuberculosis, and riding a horse made him feel better, and he credits that to getting healthy, and so it was more than just like a health treatment. It was really kind of a mind treatment and whole lifestyle treatment. Alrighty, so then here's a list of books, and these are ones that I was certainly aware of, read most of them, but put them in chronological order. So As a Man Thinketh by James Allen, 1903. 1903, I didn't realize that it was that long ago when James Allen wrote that book, As a Man Thinketh. So really, it was the idea of, okay, your thoughts, as a man thinketh. That's what happens. The Science of Getting Rich in 1910, Wallace Wattles. I became aware of Wallace Wattles several years ago. He is a huge, he don't call it law of attraction per se, but everything he teaches is all about that law of attraction. So Wallace Wattles in 1910. Napoleon Hill, law of success era fame in the 1920s. But in 1937, he wrote Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich. So again, he was taking the direct connection between your thoughts and what will happen in your life, and in this case, getting rich. All right, The Power of Positive Thinking, Norman Vincent Peale, 1952. The Power of Positive Thinking in 1952 by Norman Vincent Peale. The Strangest Secret in 1956 by Earl Nightingale. Now this was an audio cassette. Earl Nightingale was a broadcaster, and he worked with some insurance company or something, but he gave a speech a couple years earlier in 1956 to the organization, whoever the insurance company he was working for, and the people had a grassroots fire stream of people loved it, and they all wanted a copy of it. And so ultimately it was published in 1956, The Strangest Secret. It was just a speech that he had given, but he was so influenced by Napoleon Hill, and specifically the phrase, we become what we think about. We become what we think about. So his Strangest Secret speech was based on the idea of, we become what we think about. All right, now fast forward a couple more years, a couple decades to 1984. Louise Hay publishes the book, You Can Heal Your Life. And she was working with people in LA with the AIDS community. And she actually, got right down and dirty with the folks and was working with these people and basically helping them, create health in their life. Using the power of their thoughts. And so her book, You Can Heal Your Life, was published in 1984. And then Louise Hay went on to create Hay House Books, which is still like the epitome of the consciousness movement, the heart-based teachings. So Hay House is alive and well today and has an A-list of all of the people in this group of thinking people. All right. So New Age thought leaders and that whole process was thought to be pseudoscience. And so, you kind of do like a quick traditional search of what it means to be a new thought leader, and it's like, yeah, that's that pseudoscience stuff. That there's no connection to reality. Well, all right, that's coming from the perspective of Western medicine. A pill is going to heal you, and of course, the new thought leadership is really based on principles and teachings that go back thousands of years. Our ancestors knew all and understood this stuff, and now we're really relearning it. So it's called New Thought Leadership, and really it should be called Leadership Since the Beginning of Time. All right, so a little bit of an editorial there. So now let's again fast forward to 2006. The movie The Secret comes out. That really kind of reignites the law of attraction in a brand new way. Abraham Hicks is probably the most influential teacher of law of attraction, and Esther and Jerry Hicks have been doing this work since really the late 80s, I believe, mid 80s or late 80s. But then in the 90s is when they really kind of started ramping it up. And so, but they've been, Esther's still going strong today. Love it. Huge Abraham Hicks fan and disciple. All righty. Mike Dooley, Thoughts from the Universe. He publishes a Monday through Friday post where, the universe comes in and gives you your message. It's like the universe. All right. God. But people call it the universe, source energy, the quantum field, source. So, God has that very triggering kind of like beliefs that we were taught as children. And so a lot of the people in this movement are saying things like source energy, universe, quantum field, that sort of thing. All right. Now, in most recent years, let's say the last decade, 15 years plus, the science connection is starting to really be made. So the pseudoscience is becoming actually real science. And people like Bruce Lipton, The Biology of Belief, are leading the way with the epigenetics. And then Dr. Joe Dispenza, again, I'm a huge fan of Dr. Joe, but he's written several books, including The Placebo Effect, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself and Becoming Supernatural. And again, I've been a student and studying all of that. And I like it because it is science. It is like, he's the Heart Math Institute. I didn't mention them, but they're all part of it. All of these people today are talking about meditation practices, and it's really about quieting the mind and learning to be in present moments and that heart coherence. That's the Heart Math. The Heart Math Institute's phrase, I believe, is, I'm not sure if they coined it or not, but they talk about heart coherence, but the idea of getting your heart and your brain into sync and energetically. And the brain is where, the brain is more of those, like the energy direct field. And then the heart is more of the magnetic field that happens. So anyway, I'm not explaining all of this as well as I could, but I just wanted to give kind of a quick overview of it. And so that's really the thought leadership from its earliest days back in the 19th century. Phineas Quimby beginning it, and then in the turn of the century, 1903, a bunch of people: James Allen, Napoleon Hill, Norman Vincent Peale, Earl Nightingale, Louise Hay in more recent times, and all the way through Abraham Hicks, Mike Dooley, Bruce Lipton, Joe Dispenza, and lots and lots and lots more. So that's a kind of a quick overview of that, but it all ties in with the law of attraction because it's all about the law of attraction. So that's that. Now, our guest, she is waiting in the green room. She has arrived. I hope they've been treating her well back there. She had a special request for some kind of special water from England. I hope they provided that. No, I'm just all making this up. All righty, let's welcome Serenity Sam to the American Gumption Morning Show.
Hey, hello. Hi, so good to be here. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you. We've only gotten to know each other in the last month or so.
Yeah.
You joined the team at Spirituality Gone Wild, and you've got your own things going on. We're going to get into all that, but I first have to explain, Serenity Sam, how the American Gumption show works. And specifically, we have two rules when a new guest comes on board. Rule number one is I get to read a little bit of a bio and intro about the person. And then we play a first-time guest welcoming song.
Oh, I love that. Thank you.
Can you agree to those two rules? Otherwise, we'll have to cancel the interview.
Oh, wow. I agree.
Very good. So let me go ahead and just introduce who you are. And I don't, some of this, you're a little bit of a mystery. So we're going to find out who you are in the interview today. But I've got a little bit here. So let's just introduce you this way. So Serenity Sam is a practicing positivitist. Is that the right way to say that?
You said it really well.
Positivitist. I love that. That's a positive person who is committed to being positive. I love it. She is also a lover of life, music, art, happiness, and all that is. I like that. All that is. That kind of brings that includes everything. All right. She has a couple of brand new shows here on Spirituality Gone Wild, including Universal Recovery that airs on Tuesday afternoons at 1 p.m. Eastern Time in the U.S. and 6 p.m. in the U.K., which is where she's residing, along with her co-host, Saf Buxey. So I listened to a couple of your episodes. I love what you guys are doing. It's a lot of energy. You and Saf are bouncing back and forth off of each other. Who can out bounce each other? That's what that show's all about.
Tigger on steroids.
All right. So Serenity Sam is also a teacher of law of attraction. And that's the part that I'm, most interested in. So we're going to get into that as we, you are a teacher of law of attraction. So we're going to find out all about that. Additionally, Sam is a musician, and my understanding is she was a drummer in a rock and roll band for many, many years, touring the world, living the rock and roll lifestyle.
Yeah, it was good.
Wow. Well, it turns out that the lifestyle of the rock and roller wasn't the healthiest of lifestyles. And today, Sam has been in recovery for 17 plus years. And much of what Sam does today is she's all about teaching and helping others in recovery and helping them make the radical change that you made in your life and that they want to now make in their life. So that's a big part of the work you're doing.
It is. Spot on.
All righty. Now, Serenity Sam was born in Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island, which is in Canada.
That is wrong. That is not right.
Is that correct?
No. That little bit is not correct. I was actually born in Northern Ireland, in Ireland. I was, in Londonderry, whichever you want to call it.
Oh, okay. Well,
but I was brought up there. There was a hometown. It was a hometown.
So you were raised in Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island.
One of the places, but yes.
You are the first person that I know from Prince Edward Island. I knew of Prince Edward Island, so I'm just glad about that. All righty, very good. All righty, so that's it. That's all. Oh, and then she makes her home today and now I don't know the pronunciation, but I'm going to try it. Morecambe? Morecambe.
Yeah.
We
say Morecambe as a joke, though.
Okay, well, the American Gumption morning show is funny anyway. So anyway, it's all good. Morecambe, England, which is on the. I did look it up. It's on the west side of England. It's kind of on the coast, isn't it? Morecambe.
It is. It is very close to the Lake District, which is absolutely gorgeous.
Very good. All righty. Now let's play that song, and then we're going to get into. You do as much talking as you can possibly do. All righty. Let's see. Now, something's not quite working. Here we go. Let's see if we can do this first time guest theme song.
Oh, that's so cool.
Have you ever had a marching band welcome you to a show before?
I tell you, I'm living the dream now, Steve. Living the dream. I swear. It just gets better and better. See, it's law of attraction in action.
Well, thank you for joining us. Let's just get into your story. What is this? What is this story about the rock and roll drummer thing? Because I've only heard bits and pieces. How did this all become? Music must have been in your family. You grew up, and then how does a chick become a drummer in a rock and roll band? I want to know that.
Well, it kind of saved my life, really. And, obviously sort of harmed it as well on some levels. But, I got into it really initially because I was being very bullied, very, very bullied in school. And I met a bunch of musicians. And then I was going to their rehearsals. I was only about 13 at the time. And so I loved them. I loved their freedom. I loved their laid backness. I just loved the music. I loved everything about it. And one day their drummer didn't show up and they said, Sam, do you want to have a go? And I got on the drums and it was just like, whoa! So like this divine light came down upon me and I just felt like I was just home. And from that day forward, I was 100% committed to playing, all different music and going on the road. And I got into my first professional band, really professional band when I was 15. And they were all members from another quite famous band in Canada called the Newfoundland Show Band. And they sort of taught me how to be professional. So I kind of went from heavy metal, Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath, which I absolutely loved, to playing in this country and Western band. And the guitarist ended up being my drum teacher as well. He's a phenomenal drummer. And I used to go to his house almost every day after school and have chips and these greasy chips with gravy. And we used to sit there and do all these amazing things together, learn all the Led Zeppelin stuff. And it was just awesome. And then they allowed me to play in the band as well when I became really good. And, it all just took off from there, really, just such fun. I played in all different bands as well, all different styles, everything from jazzy stuff to rock to blues. I was really heavily in the blues scene as well in Canada. And I used to play with some amazing musicians. I've played on some amazing stages with amazing musicians and it went really far, Steve. It went really, really far. But I was developing a drug habit at the time as well. And so that was one of the reasons why I came over to England, because I tried to clean myself out. But unfortunately, I just got worse. It didn't, geographicals don't solve the problem. So, that took me on another journey.
Before we get into that whole phase of it, the music part's fascinating to me. Yeah. Did you have any, did you play the guitar or, had you played piano or anything kind of musical before you just picked up and started banging on the drum kit? Or, you mentioned the one fella kind of taught you to play the drums, even though you had a natural instinct for it. But what had been your musical experience before that?
Yeah, well, my father was very musical. He
Okay.
played some piano and he played the banjo and acoustic guitar. And my sister, my older sister, was learning how to play classical guitar as well.
Hmm,
And music was always in the family. My
great.
father always had a great stereo with a really good diamond tipped needle, which I was banned from scratching
Mm.
across the records. I could just see my father standing over me while I was like putting that little lever down and going, and we always had big speakers in the living room as well, like really like seemed ginormous, maybe because I was smaller, but they seemed like they were just like towers. And so we used to lie there in between these speakers and like listen to the music. So I absolutely loved music. Absolutely loved it. And one of my first albums was Back in Black from AC/DC. And when I listened to that, I just got transcended into my happy place. I don't know what, something just overtook me when I heard that album. So,
Now, I grabbed a photo I found on your Facebook page. Now, this is not in the early days. This is from probably maybe
yeah,
five years ago. You're still banging away on the
yeah.
drum kit. What were you doing there? Where was this at?
That's with a band called Hush. And we were a covers band and we traveled all around the place, all around the northwest of England. We were like a gigging paid band. Such fun. We had such a laugh. There's just three of us because we got paid more money if there's only three in the band.
That's right. You have a big giant band. You got to split the proceeds a lot more ways.
One more member, that's down like 30 quid, so it's like.
Now I'll just show. We'll put the pictures away, but here's one more. Is it your studio today?
Yeah, that's today. I mean, I'm still playing, Steve. Up until lockdown, I was playing almost every weekend in different bands as well.
Okay.
So I'm still at it.
And you have a guitar. You also play the guitar. In fact, that's when I think I first saw you playing and singing with your guitar. So
yeah, I love writing songs. I love the keyboards. Love the piano as well. Absolutely, just love writing music and doing original stuff. It's my way of being able to get through certain emotions as well. It's just, I just cannot, like, you can't really express yourself through other ways other than some of these other art forms, I don't know. I think the feelings just get stuck. You just kind of go there and they don't fully, be able to fruitate, so I absolutely love it.
yeah, it was funny.
Good.
A few weeks ago, I talked about being an artist mindset. I talked about thinking about how the artist was when I grew up was like a paintbrush, or it was like a marble and a big block of marble and a hammer and chisel. And really, an artist is anybody who creates, and whether you do it by written word or however you express yourself, we're all artists.
And every art form is just so interesting as well. These other forms of communication are so like aligned with source and with vibration and being able to like really develop it and mold it as well, like the spoken word as well as the visual arts is all of it is when you start getting into all of these things, you realize, and when you see someone do it really well as well, you realize what an art form these things are. Just so phenomenal. They just touch you in ways that other things can't.
So let's see, where are we going to go with this next? We really should talk about your awakening and your realization that the lifestyle that you were living was not going to be sustainable. I mean, how did it happen where like we don't need the details of what it was like when you're doing it, but I'm interested in that moment when you went, okay, this has to change. This cannot go on. Tell us about that.
There's so many. I think especially in my later years in Toronto, when I, really was living my dream, I was doing gigs in front of 10,000 people and getting paid a lot of money. And when I was still not feeling happy, I think that's when it kind of like really hits you. And it's sort of like, God, I thought this was going to be my happiness. I thought this was going to be my happy place. And when you realize, and as one of the big reasons why I came to the UK, because I have extended family here. I have aunts and uncles, and I thought, there's something missing. There's a connection to life. And I was, and no committed relationships, no really deep friendships. Everyone I knew was just in a band, and I just wasn't connecting. I just wasn't connecting with life. And that's why I made the big jump over to the UK, because I was like, I just feel this need to connect. And because I was born in Northern Ireland as well, and my parents are English, they're British. I was like brought up in this British family. And I was like, I just need to go and check it all out. I just need to know where I come from. I need to meet family. I mean, at the time, Steve, I was in no fit state to really connect either. I was still in the height of my addiction. And I had it all wrong. I thought that I was just going to be taken care of, and I was just going to be just this engulfed in this love and everything. And I quickly realized everyone had a life going, and and I wasn't the sort of center of attention that I thought I might have been, or that I dreamed it would be in my mind. And I was still on my own. Do you know what I mean? I still felt disconnected on my own. And that, I just went on another journey from that time forward. So it really was that realization that, what, here I have it all. I've got all the men I could ever have. I've got the money I could have. I'm doing the high profile gigs. I'm beginning to make it in the music business to the standard that I think that I want to be at. I'm living my dream. And then it's just like, and then I was just getting worse and worse and worse in my addiction, and more disconnected, and then grabbing more to try to like right myself all the time. So I just couldn't sustain it, I mean, don't get me wrong. There was a good another 10 years before I did actually find any kind of recovery. It got a lot worse before it got better, because I became a single parent. I ended up having a child with an alcoholic man, which absolutely did my head in. And all of my dreams disappeared. Everything disappeared. All my willingness to drum and sing and stuff. It was very, very minimal in the end of my using. And I think that's what really hurt the most. I thought, what am I doing to myself? I've just got to get it together. All my creativity was just slipping away. My whole mindset was just completely mad, really, really mad, Steve. I was just so unhappy. And depression just took me down massive. I was on like huge amounts of depression medication in the end as well. Like really high doses of stuff just to try to equal it all out. So it got a lot worse.
So when you finally reached the point where you were going to change, did you have professional help? Did you do it on your own? I mean, how did who helped you? What happened, and how long did it take? Like from the moment when you went, it's going to change, till it really did change, and you got life and joy back in you.
I know. I'm like most people. I had a pivotal moment where I witnessed the dark night of the soul, so to speak. And something horrendous happened. Horrendous happened. And it was so bad that I ended up getting this post-traumatic stress, and I ended up having to go get some CBT counseling. And I think, and it was at that point where I realized, magically again, I used to sit around in my place and be saying like, oh, I really wish that there was like, somewhere where people would meet and you could talk about this stuff. And literally within sort of 3 months of even having them thoughts and starting to get into the idea that I needed to get myself together, I found Narcotics Anonymous. But I did find Al-Anon before Narcotics Anonymous. I did 3 years just about an Al-Anon to sort out my hatred problem for my ex-partner, because I was blaming it all on him. It was all his fault. It was all his fault, for me having a child and my dreams being down the tube, and I had it all wrong, So anyhow, I went to Al-Anon, Friends and Families of Alcoholics, and that is where it began, Steve. That is where I could not believe it. people were sitting there pretty happy. And they were still had alcoholics in their lives, and they were still dealing with it all, like active alcoholism. And they said to me, and one of the promises in Al-Anon is that you can be happy whether the alcoholic is drinking or not. I just couldn't believe that was even possible, because I can't even express how obsessed I was, because I was also on drugs at the time, obsessed with this resentment, and I just, you know what? I just kept on going. I thought, there's got to be hope here. There's just got to be some hope. Whatever I'm doing is completely not working. And so it was there, Steve. They just these ladies, their average age there was about 80. And here's me, rock chick, drummer chick, so I'm like, I know I wasn't drumming lows, but I still had the mindset of a sort of rocker, walking into these rooms is feeling like so out of place. But I tell you what, the love and the clarity and the power in these rooms. And that's where I really learned about taking responsibility for myself and letting other people go. It's just phenomenal teachings, just so deep, so from the heart, so wise. Oh, so wise.
It was funny you said that you realized, you were blaming it, on your ex. And I'm thinking about my own story. And in 2009, I went through my year of transformation where I really put a lot of effort and energy into personal development work. And that year was wonderful because I laid the foundation for what was to come. But it wasn't until the end of 2013, and I was at another weekend retreat, and we had some homework assignment to do. And I went back and all of that work that I had done the previous couple of years, was all sitting there. The pieces were all there. And with this one assignment, I was able to take the pieces and assemble them in a way that suddenly I saw something I had never seen before. And what I saw was that, oh my gosh, it was my fault, or I know. I was responsible. It wasn't the other person. It wasn't their fault.
It's mind blowing when it hits you. It's like, what? And I've also done the 12 steps of AA as well, and I've done all the columns. I don't know if you're aware of the column sort of method, and you sort of start out like, okay, who do I resent, and then it sort of goes on to like, okay, what happened, and then how has it affected me, like socially, sexually, emotionally, whatever, financially, and like the last column is like, okay, so what did I do? And I was like, what do you mean, what did I do? what do you mean? Whoa, hang on.
I'm just a victim.
Okay, I was good with the first column and the second column, the third column, and even the fourth column, and a lot of this fifth column. I was like, what?
Well, we all hopefully we all have that moment where we awaken and we go, oh my gosh, okay, well, good, and then everything changes. Yet that's a genie that once that genie comes out of the bottle, you can't put that one back in ever again.
Never. You can't unlearn. Unlearn.
Yeah. Oh, good.
So empowering, though, to know that you do have the choice to make different decisions. You know.
So what is next for Serenity Sam? I know you've joined the team at Spirituality Gone Wild. You have a show with Saf. You have some other ideas for shows. What is the vision? What do you hope to do? And, what are you doing in your life today? And how do you want to go forward with this?
I just want to share what I've learned. And I'd like to encourage other people to walk forward. I like to call it into the light, into the love, into the light. I really want to teach self-empowerment and self-knowing, and as well as being activated in deeper ways with whatever you want to call your higher power, source energy, your soul mate, whatever, your best friend within. And that's what I'm all about, Steve, talking about that best friend within, because I fully believe when we get into alignment with that power, and I do believe, there is an entity. I do believe it's a conscious power that has the ability to influence our minds in incredibly powerful ways. And the more and more that we're stepping into love, and the more and more we're stepping into the principles of love and what love really is, and expanding and growing within love, because love wants to expand and love is expanding through us. It's very individual. So I'm not about sort of like come and do what I do. I'm more kind of like, let's talk about how you can get lined up with you. And it's a very, very personal thing. So, Steve, I'm all about living by example. I am literally living by example. I just sort of like, I am the result of my own experiment. And so, you just watch. And if you like what you see, then I've got a lot to say about a lot of different things. And it may be inspiring and just, spark off that path, whatever it might be. And it's all different paths that are leading to that same place of alignment. And alignment, you can also call your happy place. So, I've really learned, I loved your build up, because this is what it's all about. It's all about, for me, I always say for me, because I can only speak for me. And for me, it's a really, and also through having all the things that happen with addiction and understanding the thinking that happened through all of that, I am now within myself rooting out anything that is standing in my way of my alignment. Now, this could be wonky thoughts. This could be thinking about things that I'm powerless over. This is thinking about stuff that is none of my business, right? So I am pulling myself back into alignment all day, every day. I'm sort of, for lack of better words, correcting my thinking, from moment to moment, from thought to thought. And I'm also realizing what the contrast is in life and bouncing out of it quickly, because I understand what it is. And so I'm just sharing this with anybody who wants to listen, and I fully accept that, the numbers are small at this point in our history, because this is my perspective. We've got a really serious addiction going on with our negative thinking. I understand addiction about drugs and everything else, but there's an underlying addiction happening, which is the law of attraction. We can say that as well. The law of attraction gets a hold of our thinking, no matter what is going on. So for me, I am fully aware of my defects of character, which have been very disclosed through the 12 steps and beyond. And I just know personally that it is not in my best interest to revel in anything that does not feel really super good. And now since I've made the decision to revel in all the things that I love, and to really honor my dreams and really honor who I am as a person and all the things I love, and have the balls, to say no to the things I don't like. No, I don't want to watch that horrible film. No, I don't want to have that stupid conversation. No, I don't want to hang out with that negative person. No, I don't want to go to that place that does my head in. I honor my feelings now. And since I've been doing that for myself, my world is just going wild with amazingness. Like, every day is a blessing, and I'm not, you got to do this for yourself to see the results, because like they say, these words don't teach. You could just be like, oh, she's really good at talking positive talk or whatever. You know what I mean? Anyone could be an actress. Anybody can spin a tale, but only until you feel it for yourself. And now we've seen this all through our addiction lifestyle as well. Anyone who's had an addiction problems come through the other side, we can hand on heart say, oh my goodness me, my life is so much better. But now that I've given up that nugget of hell that was going on, and I've made things better for myself, it is so much better. But I'm here to say we can take it further. We can take it way further, right? We can start rooting out all of it. It's got to go. And I'm not saying that the contrast is not wanted. It is wanted. We want to be challenged. We want to grow. We want to expand. But it's all about understanding that, and I got this from 12 Steps as well, Steve. It's massive. There is always a spiritual solution, so for all the hugest problems in the world, all the biggest problems, there is always a spiritual solution. And I also believe that the law of attraction is operating as well. So like is being attracted to like, and that is very, very important to understand when it comes to which ways and thoughts you are choosing. It will grow bigger, whatever you're focusing upon. So, that's sort of like, yo. That's that's what's going on up here.
Back in 1 year ago, I decided that I needed to make a pretty radical change in my life, a year and a half ago, really. And I decided to leave Montana. I had been living there for 10 years. There's a whole story. I've shared it before, but sometime I'll share it with you. But the point is that I kind of went, okay, it's time to go back out into the world and to share. Like I was like hiding for a while there. I had been a very public person for 15 years and had a very public fishbowl existence. And that's really, the addiction started even before that began, but it just kind of, and then I went and I isolated myself in Montana, and then I cleaned up my life. I cleaned up a lot of past negative energy. I decided that I couldn't have alcohol in my life, and I just quit 4 years ago on this coming Monday. And so it was like one of those things that it was just like it no longer fit. In my particular case, I had done that spiritual work and I told you in 2013, I had that moment. And I kind of, at that point, I think I outgrew the need for it, but it was still a physical addiction that was part of what I was doing. And so anyway, I got rid of that, but then I needed to change my environment and come back out into the world. And so anyway, I, on this year, on July 7th, I launched my American Gumption website, which had been sort of like it was like a small kernel. And then I expanded it into something bigger and defined it better. And that very same day, Serenity Sam, is the day that I met Debbie G. And the day I became connection. And there was no direct link between my launching the website and meeting Debbie G. In other words, we met completely like in some other, channel. But it was really proof that the law of attraction works, right? Because I had taken the step, and then and then within 3 days, it was decided that I would do a regular show. I was ready to do this. I mean, it wasn't like I had been preparing for it, for 10 years. And so it just all fell into place. And without even thinking about it, it just all started. Now, just a few weeks or a month ago, you get involved, and there's an energy going on within our Spirituality Gone Wild community that is really quite special. And I'm just grateful and honored that you've joined the group. And so I think it's exciting what you bring to the group. So thank you.
Oh, so blessed beyond belief. And my story coming into Spirituality Gone Wild is just a phenomenal one as well, Steve. Just like, I really truly believe there's a broader perspective, and we are being taken care of, and we do have a best friend in the spiritual world that is looking out for us. I call it they. I think it's a they rather than just an it. I think they are looking out for us. And, this is what my message is to everybody as well. I'm not don't get me wrong. I'm not like anti-drink or anti-drugs or anti-anything. All I know is, for me, I really want to keep my energy and intuition very, very sharp. Very, very sharp, because it's very subtle. Vibration is incredibly subtle. It's the precursor to thought. And it literally is I feel is part of our nervous system as well. It is literally giving you tiny movements from left to right, and thoughts, and unless you're really tuned in to really picking it up on it, and you are authentically happy. This is the trouble for me with anesthetic and artificial happiness, that it doesn't give me the same confidence as real happiness. And I'm telling you this because of what I just want to tell you about my little story. I was just sitting there in my meditation, as I do in my music room, in my studio, and I had this overwhelming thought, this amazing, beautiful thought, that I really wanted to put a festival on my friends, C. Megan Michael, High Vibrational Mastery, and we become friends, and she's been really supportive and lovely with me, right? But we'd never done this before. I had this overwhelming thought to say, I really want to put a festival on her group. I just feel like it, right? And I just felt like it. It was just like, this is a fun idea. I just love the idea of this. I've never co-created with anybody like this. I've never done this before. I had no idea what was going to happen. Nothing. I didn't know who's going to come on, and nothing. I just messaged C, and I said, C, I've just got this massive feeling that I really want to do a festival. Let's co-create a festival, and then we worked it all out, and energy was flying around, and we were just in the zone. Me and C and a few other people as well. We were all so in the zone, and we put on this most incredible, beautiful festival, right? That lasted 8 hours. It was phenomenal. But the long and short of it, Steve, was I was then asked to host David Strickle, right? And I was like, oh my goodness me. Like, that was just like such an honor and such a privilege. And I felt just so excited about it, because he's about law of attraction and all that stuff as well. I was like, woo! It's almost like being like with Abraham, you know what I mean? It was like proper buzz. And anyhow, then in the hosting thing, again, it was brave. I felt brave. I talked about the idea that I, feel as though I'm a rock star in my heart. And I was just talking about it. And we did a thing about it. But then later on afterwards, he says, I think you need to meet Debbie G. And he put us together. Yeah. And from that day forward, it's all just taking off, And it's just like, this is how this stuff works. This is the point. When we get these urges, when we're standing in the light, and we've practiced this stuff, it's like, you start knowing who you are. You start knowing what you want. You start clarifying. I love what you said. You clarified your website. You clarified what you were doing, what you wanted. The universe went wham. Now you know what you want. We know what you want as well. And here's some of it. Isn't it so good?
I really appreciated what you said about, not wanting to, preach and say that, like, hey, you got to do it this way or that way. David, and for those who aren't familiar, David Strickle, the Stream of David, he is one of the co-creators, and he has his show on Spirituality Gone Wild on Wednesday nights that he broadcasts. And so it's we are all this family, but David is doing the law of attraction and the Taya workshop. So he's deep into it, and he had this gift all his life for channeling, and yet he, it wasn't until just a few years ago when he finally stepped into it and embraced it. So we're all coming to the stage in our own time and our own journey to get there, and we've all suffered, and we've all had addictions of different kind, and one more piece you said about being clear and having clarity in your own mind.
Yeah, it's your happiness. Your happiness is your guide. And this is the thing that is the massive learning from the Abraham teachings.
Yes.
And we have been absolutely like marched into negativity and to be like under the guise of being caring, under the guise of, being a good citizen and all of this stuff. And I'm just here to say, just another person that absolutely 100% agrees with Abraham, and that we've got to get into our happy zone.
Yeah.
We gotta get into our life is here to have fun. Life is here to enjoy. And listen, we are going to become so powerful. The right words are going to happen at the right time, and the right money is going to come into your life in the right way. And you will be able to make such a difference to people's lives. We can't even imagine where this is going, Steve, at this point in time, but we all know it is, because this is it. We all do care, but we also know that we have also had to get into our happy place as well, because that is where the divine is existing. It's all the higher vibrations. It doesn't listen to the moaning and complaining, and that's very difficult for people to hear, because we think, we thought that was what God was going to be about, that it was going to stroke us and make us feel better.
Yeah,
we thought he was going to, we're going to pat us on the head and give us a cuddle, and it's not like that. It's like, no, listen, if I sat there and pandered to your negativity, you're going to get worse. We need you to step up. We need you to step up and step into the light. That's what we need. And you will not regret being.
Whoops, Sam. She dropped out. I'm not hearing her, but maybe she's still talking away. Hopefully she'll be back. Our connection's been a little bit fuzzy throughout this day, but hopefully she's going to appear again. And maybe I'm not talking over her, or she's talking at the same time. I'm not sure. Well, I was going to do a screen share. There's a couple more fun pictures of Sam. I'm almost wondering if that's there she is. She's coming back. Let's hope that Sam comes back. I'm going to just show a couple of photos here that from who Sam is. We're hoping she'll rejoin us, but let's just go ahead. Now, this photo, I don't know. Look at those boots that she has on, and she's got her drum pedal, so she apparently can play the drums while those big giant boots with all those straps and snaps are there working away. Here's a photo of Sam, Serenity Sam, with some kind of a bongo drum. Oh, there she is. She's coming back. Yes,
hey, sorry about
good.
That.
And then tell me about this photo. Who is Louise Vesey? What was this photo shoot all about?
Oh man, that was a phenomenal time. Oh, I've got so many stories to tell, Steve. I swear. That Louise Vesey is my sister, and she's a photographer. She's an award-winning, famous photographer in Canada. We are so proud of her. So proud. But we went to Italy together, and that was on my bucket list. Go see Venice. My sister flew from Canada, and we met over in Italy and had the most phenomenal time. I think that was in a town called Orvieto. So beautiful. It was built on a mountain. Just phenomenal stuff, Steve. Just phenomenal. Living your dream, living your happiness. It's not what you might think it is. You think, oh yeah, winning the lottery, or, oh yeah, that big house in Beverly Hills, or, you're going to get your Juno Award or something. But I tell you what, it's so much more. It's like, standing in Italy with my sister, just eating a croissant and having a laugh with a man that can't speak any English, all of this, seeing like this crazy shop with all of these like toy trains and everything. The guy was on fire, and here's me and my sister there together, looking at Venice, looking at the water, eating steak in the middle of Venice, having a laugh. It's just, you just can't put it into words why it's so important to get happy. Honestly, I was scared of it as well. I was scared of what was going to happen if I was going to do that, if I was going to keep on going further and further and further in. but one thing is for sure, and I don't know if you feel like this. I don't know how far you've taken it, Steve, yourself, but one thing is for sure. My higher power has never let me down, ever. It is absolutely my best friend. It is higher level than my husband, and I've told him that. Okay, so there's no mystery. It's higher level than parents. It's higher level than best friend. It is a co-creational relationship that you can depend on. And this is just my experience. I can depend on it. 100% can depend upon it. And there's much to be learned. And I really do subscribe to the emotional guidance system teachings as well of Abraham. I think it's spot on. I'd never heard that before. And it is something that obviously someone else has invented. But I would like to, very much promote the emotional guidance system and what that is to people as well. And if that resonates with people, then great. But I tell you what, it really resonates with me. I get it. I really get it. And I love it. And it makes sense to me. Really does. And that's a conversation for another time, probably.
It's a conversation for another time because our time is out. And so we have to wrap up today's show. But I am so grateful that you joined us today. I am even more appreciative of the fact that you, Serenity Sam, are part of the Spirituality Gone Wild team. And we are going to be able to continue this conversation in one way, shape, or form through our events as a group, or you are welcome to come back to this show and continue to teach. Today was a great introduction to who Serenity Sam is and what's your final message today, and then we'll have to wrap up.
Just be good to yourself and love yourself, and you're so loved. Love is the way to go.
It's all about, really, for me, it was all about self-forgiveness in the sense that, that was, the idea of blaming and shaming. And, that was that moment when you go, oh no, it's all about joy and it's about love. And I forgive myself. So I love that message. So thank you, Sam, for joining us today. Please come back again.
Thank you so much, Steve. Thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
We'll see you again. All righty. Well, that was great. I really do appreciate Serenity Sam joining us. She will be back, I'm sure, in the future. We'll continue the conversation. I can't wait to see what she brings to us in the teaching of law of attraction, because I think that's a message that resonates loud and clear with me. And I think it's something that, the average person, can relate to once they've realized that the old ways just don't seem to be working any longer. We'll leave it at that. All righty, everybody. Well, I'm going to sign off. Tomorrow, Alan Knight, the man who lived as a Zen monk for 8 years and then realized that it's probably more fun hanging out with people than it is to just being a Zen monk. So he came out and he wrote the book, Mind Gone Wild. He'll join us tomorrow. And then next week, Joe Lair, Front Yard, Backyard Story. You'll hear all about that and how it influenced my life when I made an important decision 4 years ago. Shaman Isabella on Tuesday and Nikki Roscoe on Wednesday. Have a great day. I will see you all tomorrow, folks.